Hi again then guys, and welcome to what is, for now at least, going to be the final episode of one of our biggest and most exciting series in terms of content, the SuperSports series, a series which contains so many hugely popular, well-respected and beloved cars in the exotic SuperSports category, and this is the final episode. Now, there are some vehicles which you may think deserve a place to be here. Notably, stuff like the Nissan GT-R prototype and various others that you could say perhaps deserve a place in the series. And we may well review some of those in other series in the future, such as Random Reviews, the series where we discuss vehicles which don't necessarily fall into other conventional categories. Or, for instance, the Black Mask version of the GTR or the Black Mask version of the Corvette. Those vehicles which are technically within this category, but kind of aren't at the same time. But for now, though, this is going to be the end of the series, and we may well get more cars in this series as we move into GT Sport later on this year. Who knows? I should think we probably will, but we'll have to wait and see. So in this final episode, what better way to end the series than with a strong car? And the car is another variation of a hugely popular vehicle, the R35 Nissan Gtr. Now originally, when I first reviewed the GTR in this series, the original 2007 R35, I mentioned I probably wouldn't be featuring many, if any, of the others. We've actually ended up reviewing pretty much all of the main ones. The Black Edition, the Nismo, the original 2007, and now this, the Spec V. So what's different about it? What's notable? And perhaps what's not so good? Because most cars do have downsides, so what are they? Well, this car doesn't really have any crippling downsides, as some vehicles do. It's more a case of it falls short of some of the other GTRs in certain ways. But we'll get into that more as we go through the video. Now, the engine is unsurprisingly a 3.8 litre twin turbo. It's an all-wheel drive car, and basically the Spec V is the lighter, more track-focused, more taut-focused overall version of the GTR. It deletes the rear seats, so there's reduced practicality, but in favour of improved performance. Now, as far as spec, it's an R35 GTR, so of course it's going to be impressive. 1,074 horsepower, 796 foot-pounds of torque in its fully tuned form. The PP is very high, just as you'd expect it to be, at 670, even higher with a flat floor, of course. And as far as the weight, it is notably lighter than all of the other production spec GTRs, of the R35 generation, of course. It's lighter than the 2007, the Black Edition, and fairly obviously lighter than the Nismo. It weighs 1,345 kilos, which is roughly 40 to 60-ish kilos lighter than most of the others, so it's not a huge amount, but it's still lighter, nonetheless, and the horsepower per tonne, thanks to the big power primarily, is good, just under 800 horsepower per tonne to be exact. Now, the price is one of the slight downsides, I would say, to this particular car, because one of the great things about the GTR overall is something that it shares with the Tommy Kaira ZZ2, and that is value for money. And that's one of the reasons why I reviewed not this version, but a different GTR in my top 20, I believe it was, best value for money cars. Because although this is a great car, it is significantly more expensive than some of the other GTRs. 157 grand to be exact. That's a pretty hefty price, considering you can get the 2007 version for roughly 60,000, you can get the Black Edition for roughly 95,000, and even the Nismo costs around that same kind of price as the Spec V. So, although it's understandable why it costs more, it is kind of a shame that it is basically double the price, or more, of the other versions. The question is, what are the advantages of this car? Why does it cost so much more? Well, the straight line performance is just as strong as you'd expect. The launch off the line is fantastic, the acceleration through its entire performance range is outstanding, and the top speed is devastatingly quick, over 290 easily, under its own power, well beyond 300 with NOS and draft. So it has the performance that you'd hope and expect from a GTR. What about the handling? Well, the handling, I would say, is, and this isn't too surprising, better than some of the others. Definitely better than the Nismo, perhaps better than the Black Edition, but the Black Edition is also very good. I would say perhaps a little bit better than the Black Edition, and probably better than the 2007 version as well. This car's a little bit lighter on its feet and more focused than the Nismo. Overall, it's an excellent track car. It's possibly even the best of the GTRs if you're looking for purely a track vehicle, especially for technical circuits. And overall, the performance is good enough in a straight line to rival any of them, but with better handling than most of them. So, although the price is more, you can understand why. It is a good car. I must admit though, this is my least used version of the R35 GT-R. I hardly ever use the Spec V, and the reason why is purely because I prefer the others. I prefer the 2007, I prefer the Black Edition. If, however, you are a GT-R fan and you're looking for a strong track-focused version more than anything else, then this is definitely the car to go for. And even though it does cost more, 157 grand is still a very good price. It's fantastic value for money. The performance can pretty much blow anything else within this category out of the water, with the exception, of course, of the other GTRs, on most tracks. There are a couple of other vehicles which can give it a great run for its money, such as some of the Corvettes and notably the Viper ACR, but apart from that, there really is very little else that can genuinely rival the GTR as an all-round machine. But that's it for our final episode, so be sure to stick around next week for the start of a new series, and that's it. So I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.